The only world show for Kingdom Hearts 4 is the world ends with you. That's a game. Imagine Sora making it a crossover with Genshin. He's already a light sword user. I don't know about these things so much. I haven't really played though Kingdom Hearts, but yeah, I see what you're going with. They have all different characters in that world, don't they? And they could just stick these things in there as well, and they could interact. I was thinking just Genshin themselves could just establish themselves like a new Disney. You know, overtake Disney in the future. Because as things go on, when we're kids, the reason that Disney exists is that when you're a kid, they indoctrinate your mind. For better or worse. Sorry, I'm just rearranging myself. Oosh. Right, for better or worse, they indoctrinate you when you're kids. They get you when you're a kid. You don't know much when you're a kid, do you? You're not that smart. And they get into your head, and you like Disney, The Lion King. Oh, I like those songs of Hakuna Matata, and that's my favourite one. And you know, they know which kinds of characters they need to have in their films so that they appeal to different people, so that the parents can watch it as well as the kids and all that. They do quite sophisticated media. It's quite good media. I like The Lion King, but then as you grow up, like it's like part of your life that's just around, isn't it? And like it's seen as this like symbol of quality. Disney, it exists, but as an adult now, if I were to ask you what, and I'm assuming you're an adult, I'm not going to ask you any personal details, remember, on the internet, unless you volunteered them, but assuming you're an adult enough anyway that you're not a fucking kid, like there's a point where Disney becomes not interesting. Okay, the big ones, the cinema experiences are still interesting, but in general, the latest Disney film is not for you anymore, is it? You grow up and grow out of it. So Disney have to keep getting new generations of kids involved, otherwise they're not going to maintain market share. So they're always thinking about how to appeal to the young. But the problem that they've got, like many things, is that the young make their own, like these days more and more so on the internet, the young make their own fun, what am I trying to say, like you don't know what's going to be cool for kids. Kids decide what's going to be cool themselves. Does that make sense? It can be marketing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teletubbies,
in adventuring,
you know,
as
it
in
can
business,
be marketing.
You always have to seize the opportunity while it's there.
But a slightly older and a slightly more sentient market are harder to market to, because young people want to be cool and they don't want the things that the older people tell them are cool. They want what they think is cool. So I think Attack on Titan's a good example of an anime that doesn't fit the mold of what the market might have assumed the young people might like. But because how could you invent that and say, you know, like Disney aren't going to go anywhere near that, but people fucking love that. I love it. So you know, maybe other things are cool and interesting, and maybe just because you're Disney and you're saying this is what kids should like, maybe they don't. You know, you have to, with toy companies and stuff, like I say, there's a lot of marketing involved. Peppa Pig gets you so young that you haven't got a choice, but more and more so, the youth are making their own choices about what they think is cool. They're not being dictated to by marketing as much. They're a bit more self-aware, they're a bit more, because of the internet. Do you know what I mean? Because of memes, because of taking the piss out of companies marketing to us and stuff. So this has been chosen by the generation. It's the most popular, biggest, isn't it? Am I wrong on that? Like, aren't we in the Genshin generation now? Last 2 years this has been out. Massive success for them. Taken on, adopted by the youth. Not necessarily the older people in the gaming world, but the younger people in general. I'm saying I'm older than the average Genshin player, I'm guessing, and I'm guessing that young people coming into gaming that used to choose Fortnite, that used to choose Minecraft, might navigate towards Genshin Impact. Like, what's your first game that you got and played? Do you know what I mean? Like these days, what's the first game a child is going to pick up and play? What looks most appealing? What's most accessible? Like Genshin Impact ticks loads of boxes for me.
Balance, but I think this is pushing it.
Well, I think Fortnite used to be the thing. Fortnite was the thing for a while. It still is for a lot of people, but I think Genshin's got this strong place in the market. So, because it's been adopted like that, I think it has the ability to be bigger than Disney, or not bigger than, but you know, to establish itself like a Disney. With anime, I don't know where it can end up. I don't know if younger, because we have the anime paint on top of the game, and anime is either cool or cringe for some young people. You see, that's exactly my point. I don't know the answer, because I might be. I'm now in the realm where I can't make decisions on what young people think is cool, because I sound like an old person saying, oh, you know, having fun, are we? Are we winning, son? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like the old people who are like, oh, so wiki fresh, DJ fresh in the house. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not in the subculture of the young people anymore, so it's not for me to dictate. And you're right, I might be getting this wrong, but I perceive that Genshin Impact is quite popular, and popular amongst people that I think, like the Mermaid Scales is a good example. She plays Genshin Impact, so I think she represents the zeitgeist of a generation in a way. She's like the TikTok Genshin healthy smile, like what they're consuming. Like, she's got a dark edge to her as well, but like, yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm going to just example it as well, because the Mermaid Scales plays Genshin Impact, so I think it is. Genshin Impact. This is her, isn't it? Is she still doing it, or is this all 10 months ago? Anyway, the Mermaid Scales playing Genshin Impact.
Bargain hunters.
Said it now, so I'm going to have to show it.
This.
Hello, this is me from the future. This was my luckiest roll ever. That's why it's going up on my main channel. No, I'm not cutting off my gaming channel. Just letting you guys know.
So she's got a gaming channel, right? So that's why I don't see her doing it as much, but like, she's playing Genshin Impact. She represents to me the zeitgeist of the generation, yeah? She's like very popular, and she's very relatable, they say. Obviously, I don't find her that relatable because I'm a bit of an older male compared to her. Like, I'm probably a decade or so old. She's in her 20s. Like, I'm probably a decade older than her. But, and so she's talking to a generation that's probably a decade younger than her as well, in a way. But, you know, the Mermaid Scales, isn't it? And so if I put in any of her videos, just chosen the one in the middle at random there, and the comments are going to say relatable. Aren't they? The comments are going to say... someone gave her the most relatable things award. They talk about anime characters and their favourite anime characters. So I think it's about right. I think Genshin's about right for the zeitgeist there. Like, Logan Paul has a super massive kids audience. Yeah, that's strange to me as well, because I don't vibe with Logan Paul and I don't even watch any of his stuff, so I can't really comment too much. Same with Dream and the Minecraft YouTubers. It would range from super family-friendly Minecraft fun and Logan Paul. There's definitely a TikTok generation too, yeah. Like, Minecraft is now over and done with as a like, there's a Minecraft generation of content creators, the Dream.
Hello.
It's almost like you've got, like I was saying earlier, like class of 99, class of 2000, class of 2001, class of 2002, you know, you've got these generational waves, haven't you? And like, it might not be like Generation X, Generation Y, the baby boomers. They use the word boomer on the internet a lot, but boomers is a different generation to the way they refer to it on the internet. Baby boomers was after the war, a lot of people were dead and there weren't so many people around, so lots of people coming back from the war said, oh, let's have some sex, and babies came out, and a lot of people during the war had a bit of sex as well, because like, we might die tomorrow, Hitler might drop bombs on us, so, and then babies came out, so it was like a lot of babies all of a sudden, like a lot more than you normally would get, because we'd had a big war and there were the reasons. So there was this generation, they called it the baby boom generation, and that's the generation of actually my parents. So it's funny when they use boomers on the internet, because they're referring to a generation, the baby boomers, but they get it wrong on the internet and don't understand where it came from, so they call anyone that's old a boomer. But I'm actually Generation X, so like, that's how it is. Yeah, they had these wider generational divides in the past. You had like 20, 30 years to be a generation within. Things move a bit quicker these days, I imagine. What's going on now? You alright? Oosh. But certainly, and I'm not dissing Minecraft at all, obviously, I'm just saying that their wave has come, peaked, and those people have grown up a bit. It's not far to grow up from as well. Like, if you're like 14 and you're into Minecraft and that's your biggest thing, and like Dream is massive, yeah, give it 2 years, 14, 15, 16, you're not going to be that you're still going to watch stream a bit because it's still your thing that you grew up with a bit, you know, like you're still going to be a bit into it, tune in every now and then, but you're going to be into learning to drive, learning to do naughty things, finish your exams, move on. Like, you're going to be at a different phase in your life, so that same entertainment, Minecraft videos, isn't going to entertain you as much anymore. So this is why you see like PewDiePie, you'll see it with Ludwig as well. They have their time in the sun, and then their popularity will wane. They'll still be big numbers, they'll still be big people, but their audience will grow up and move on. And so either they attract a new younger audience, again, recycle, you know, like I was saying, you have to get new people in to watch Disney, otherwise they grow up and move on. They still have a bit of an attachment to them, they'll still come back sometimes, they'll still be like Disney people, that's their generation, you know, but they'll move on because they grow up. So you either grow up with them and offer different media as they grow, and you maintain that relationship with your audience and you grow up together, or you're a children's entertainer and your children have moved on, so you need to appeal to new children, but now you're 10 years older and the children are into something that's different. They like the mermaid scales, so now you're a creepy older guy who's trying to gather children, and it fucking goes down the pan. You know, you have your time in the sun, and then you have to adapt and change. And it will happen to the mermaid scales as well. She will be relatable to millions of young people out there right now. She might not be as relatable to the 20-somethings that are the same age as her, because they might not relate to the way she's behaving on the internet, which is really relatable to younger people, therefore making her lots and lots of money and views and clicks. And I like her content, I think it's good. And it is relatable to anyone of any age who's got a sibling sometimes, you know. But I think that there'll be another wave after her, won't there? And these waves come quick because 2 or 3 years and you've moved on and grown up. So 11 to 14 years old, you're in and you're watching. Only a few years after, it's all changed. And these apps like TikTok become these stamp marks of the generation that a previous generation, by the time I've got involved in making TikToks, I'm not even doing it, like, it will be moved on. I don't really belong there, so I can't be asked to do it, but you know what I mean, like, by the time I've got my head around it, people are using a different thing. By the time people realised how to use Snapchat and their nan was Snapchatting, they don't want to touch it anymore. You don't want to be on the same media platform as your nan and your granddad and your parents. So you're not on Facebook, which used to be where the young people were. Now that's just old people. So Facebook's a load of rubbish full of idiots. It will happen with all these platforms. YouTube's a bit evergreen because it's YouTube, isn't it? But Twitch did the same thing, came in and usurped. The younger people are on Twitch, the older people are on YouTube. It's weird to think about. Every generation of content has an expiry date, hidden but ticking. Yeah, in a good and bad way as well. Like, you know, everything that works, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Everything that's working for these people to maintain and generate their popularity has that expiry date on it. The day I said maybe Vines aren't that bad, TikTok said hi. Like, the Vines thing really makes me laugh because that some people on TikTok won't even know what Vines are. That's how fast things move. And it's ironic, isn't it? Yeah. So I like talking about these things, so I like talking about them, but we do get back to Genshin Impact. It's really interesting stuff though. Yeah, so Disney and Genshin Impact, going to finish what I was saying about it. This is why I need an editor, and I'm starting to get to the point where I'm going to start paying an editor, because I can edit, but I have to go through all my episodes, edit them. I need to be sitting there editing instead of sitting here doing this. But someone should be clipping this shit that I say, and we should be putting it up on the Ganji Cuts, because like, it's interesting stuff. From someone who's got qualifications in media and understands the media and loves it and has thoughts about it. That Genshin are in this strong position where they can create a Disney for their own, in their own right. If they create strong enough characters and they are attached to by the generation, we could be a Genshin Impact generation. We, you, other people, could be a Genshin Impact generation.
Fascinating. Let's go.
And on the back of that, you know, we'll always have, like, I will always be interested to hear what Disney's new film is, even if I don't want to watch it. There will always be people who, you know, that's my childhood, that's my thing. There will always be people who love Minecraft, won't there? So it creates a very strong thing as well, even if it does have a shelf life. Genshin is poised to be able to do that right now. Come on, whoever. Sora for next character crossover. Who's Sora? What's she in? I'm surprised they even did any character crossovers. I know there's been one from a different game that I missed called Alloy. Or maybe she was just on PlayStation, but I missed Alloy. But I'm surprised that they would do that. They can. Fortnite have successfully just said, it's a fucking free-for-all. We can't be bothered to write a proper story. It's impossible to write a proper story because it just goes on forever and there's no fucking story because we're doing the same thing over and over again. So instead what we'll do is we'll just say it's a fucking free-for-all like Kingdom Hearts, and it's just, absolute mess, but, anyone can appear, and that means that whichever company want to pay us this week, well, we'll just write them into the story. Oh, we've got the Mandalorian in now. Oh, we've got Batman in now. Oh, we've got Are you doing a Spider-Man film this year? Do you need us to help promote it? Pay us some money and we'll put Spider-Man in the game now. You just do whatever. And that helps in a way, because whatever's popular can go in the game, so there's always something that, they don't have to be the zeitgeist. Oh, there's another cave. We're talking about zeitgeist, not zeitgeist the film that was, anti-capitalist, but the meaning of the word zeitgeist. The defining spirit or mood of a particular period of history as shown by the ideas and beliefs at the time. The feel of the vibe during the time. It's like this thing about generational. The generational zeitgeist of the Minecraft movement, the Minecraft zeitgeist. So we're talking about this idea of zeitgeist, and what Fortnite have done was they were the zeitgeist for a while. Battle Royale, Fortnite, it was part of the zeitgeist, part of the feel of the generation. But now it's less so, because the problem with Fortnite is, you tell me who's the main person in Fortnite. You tell me what's the main story of Fortnite. Who are the main characters? In Disney, I can tell you, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, other IPs. And this is something that Genshin Impact has a problem with, because character Traveller is a bit blunt, but they really make up for it with all these other characters that we play as. But the banana guy. You see what I mean? It's hard to say what's the iconic image of, I can see the script and I know the game, but so it falls away. But what they can do is they can grab any other zeitgeist. Is Spider-Man popular this week? Put him in the fucking game. Shoehorn him in. So we can just feed off we don't have to understand the zeitgeist. As long as we know what the iconography of it is, we can put it in the game. And because we don't go deep in Fortnite, there's no backstory to it. Oh, they're all on the island again. Oh, Doctor Strange has made things disappear, and we've got to save the world again. And yeah, whatever. The fucking doors in the sky. A bit. Genshin Impact does this a bit. Magic doors in the sky. Why am I here? Oh, just magic. I'm a traveller from nowhere. Does that a bit, but Fortnite use it to its advantage, where they just say, right, fuck it, we'll just, we'll be a sampler plate of all these things. We're still Fortnite, but you can be Spider-Man now. We're still Fortnite, but you can have the Mandalorian. So we don't have to think. We'll just watch what's happening and try and put it in the game. As long as they can do that effectively, they'll not be spotted by ongoing generations who will say, oh, this is cool, look, it's got my favourite thing in it. But some people might start to say, no, this is just put my favourite thing in as a sticker on top, but it's actually the thing that my parents played. I'm not interested. There's like this generational thing where people don't want to listen to their parents' music. Doesn't matter how good it is, you end up being the generation saying, oh, music was better in my day. You don't know what you're doing with your trap music. You should be listening to proper garage drum and bass. Right, this thing happens. So Fortnite will eventually fall into that. I see you putting my favourite character in there, Fortnite, but you ain't fooling me. You're old school Fortnite. I want to play something new. So at the moment, though, Genshin Impact has this power with this zeitgeist because it is its own thing. I'm talking about Paimon, I'm talking about Amber, I'm talking about Venti. I'm talking about characters within this world that you could create a film out of. You could create an anime that has been created, gone before. All these different things that live outside of the game, that are the game, that are part of the zeitgeist. If they did a better job, and because it's in fantasy and it's not reflective of our world, I think this is one thing that really is a shame in a way for Genshin Impact, is if they'd done a better job of creating a story. Like, it feels a bit we'll talk about this, because you said with a free-to-play gacha, as long as the cost of service doesn't surpass the earnings, once Genshin is done, it can be maintained as a game, has enough content to keep people playing again and again for the first time. New young people, yeah, people always want to play it, but eventually it won't be the new game, so they won't be interested. Like anime only fans, and the anime can bring its own thing outside the game. I read that as anime only fans, but you mean like people who are just fans of anime, so I get what you mean. The issue that they have is that Mickey Mouse, I could draw him, yeah. The Lion King, you know, Simba is a very is a lasting character impression. I think the Traveller, because they've decided to make them less personality on the Traveller, because that's you putting your feelings onto them. More personality on the surrounding cast, more diversity in the surrounding cast, lots of interesting characters. I just feel that aspect of it, like, you know, iconic characters, it's there in ways, it really is, but in other ways it's not so. And I think because the reason that I'm thinking that the issues are here is because that what they did at the start is they made a platform so they could maybe create a bit of a gacha game, sell some different characters, have it always. I know that it's developed since it first started, and it was a bit of Breath of the Wild clone to start with. It didn't have as much. I'll say it didn't have as much of its own character to start with. Maybe it certainly did have its own character. Don't get me wrong, but it's evolved, hasn't it? It's developed, and they're settling into their groove and finding their way more as they've gone on. And maybe, in some ways, I just feel that it's just lacking. Just maybe. They've got the baddies, they've got the goodies, they've got the Mondstadt people.
You always have to seize the
They've got different characters. They've got Leo. You know, all this is in there, but I'm maybe it's just me and how I feel about my connection to the characters. But I resonate far more with Link. You know, Link. You see what I'm saying about this, right? Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Link. Link is a fucking statement character. Has been for years. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's that longevity that's created this giant in my mind. But Link is, you know, a proper character, isn't he? Mario is. Again, Fortnite, it's the banana guy, is it? It's, you know, you haven't really got that. Genshin Impact, even though it's got all these wonderful characters that I think are deep and rich and interesting, I don't think they have the zeitgeist encapsulating main. They used to call it, for, what did they call it? For consoles, you would have a mascot, I think they would call it, like the mascot character, the Sonic. Genshin Impact feels less individual identity, because it felt a bit Breath of the Wild clone, a bit anime, a bit this, a bit that. The art style is great, but it's not individual, is it?
1, 2.
And even if you call Link, it's not even the same Link in all games. Yeah, yeah. And you know that it didn't matter which game you imagined there. It didn't matter. It's still Link. And when I say Mickey Mouse doesn't look like Mickey Mouse. In fact, Mickey Mouse recently, they decided to bin off the copyright for Mickey Mouse because he doesn't look like that anymore. Original Mickey Mouse. Disney used to own the copyright for the original Mickey Mouse, and he used to look like this, or even, you know, more different than this. 1928 there. And now Mickey Mouse looks like this. So they are quite different. So Disney used to maintain a copyright for all these different Mickey Mouse, you know, for all these different styles and kinds of Mickey Mouse. And this one, they recently decided they don't want to keep the copyright for that. They're not going to trademark that anymore because it's so far away now from that. It's changed. So even Genshin Impact could do that. You know, we might just be looking at the 1920s version of the Genshin Impact, and in 40 years, Traveller, Paimon, take on a bit more. I mean, Paimon, I think, is the one out of all of them. Paimon and Amber are the ones that can carry this role out of all of them. You all right, Marlo? Excuse me.